Hi, my name is Squanto, or Squanto as my tribe calls me. I'm going to tell you the story about my life and the first Thanksgiving. I lived with the Patuxent Indians living on a gentle rise of land overlooking the ocean. Me and my tribe lived in round wigwams made out of bed saplings and tree barks. Covering our village was a great golden field of corn. Everyone had jobs to do. Like the children's job was to scare off the crows. I was among those who planted corn. I also helped plant pumpkins, gourds, and squash. Each day, I and my father went out to and check the twine snares. I always hoped that there was food in the traps for a good feast. I was getting older, and I had fished in the ocean, catching large fish in no time. In no time, I was almost a man. I went with my father and the elders to catch great whales. My grandfather told me that every year men in great canoes trade tools and fur. When I was in my 20s, I was taken away with some other men in my tribe by Captain Hunt and his crew. He captured us and was taking us across the big water to be sold into slavery. After a long trip, we landed at a port in Malaga, Spain. I was put up for auction with the others. Some Spanish monks bought me, and I lived with them for quite some time. They took care of me and treated me how they would want to be treated. I learned to speak the language, and they taught me many things. After living with them for 2 years, I went to London to live with a man named John Sleaney. I worked in the stables and learned their way of talking too. Now I speak 3 languages. I miss my home and tribe terribly, and John Sleaney promised that one day I could return. 2 more years, there was finally a ship that could take me home. After a long time at sea, I arrived home and saw that my village had been destroyed and there was no one left. I was heartbroken. A nearby tribe took me in, and I found out that my village had been destroyed by a disease called smallpox. I was so sad to think about everyone and not seeing them again. A year went by, and I learned that an entire ship of settlers had landed and were living right where my tribe used to live. I went to see the settlers at their camp. I noticed that they were dressed like the Englishmen and women from London. I spoke to them in English, and they were amazed and surprised. They told me that they were pilgrims and that they were here to start a new life. They told me that they come here on a ship called the Mayflower. They had a very harsh first winter in the new land, and many had died. I felt bad for these people because I knew what it was like to lose your friends and family. I told them that I would teach them how to survive here and teach them what they needed to know for planting and fishing. I was able to translate a peace treaty between the other tribes and the pilgrims, and we all became friends. I showed them how to catch fish and use that fish as fertilizer for planting corn. I showed them how to catch lockers and shellfish on the shore. I showed them how to catch wild turkeys and twine snares. When the harvest time came, the pilgrims were so thankful to God and to me that they wanted to throw a great feast to celebrate. They invited Chief Massasoit and his warriors to the feast. The natives brought food with them, including deer and turkeys. Everyone cooked and ate together for 3 days. There was eel, lobster, cod, whole hogs, mussels, turkey, and cranberry pies. It was a great time of togetherness and brotherhood. I was glad to have been there and helped these kind people learn how to survive in the new world. There you have it. That's the story of my life in the first Thanksgiving. I died in 1622, and I was glad to be a part of the first Thanksgiving.